So this one is Miquela, the Uncanny CGI virtual influencer signs with CAA. So Lil Miquela is a digital avatar and music artist, and she is CAA's first virtual client. CAA is one of the largest talent management agencies in the world, based out of Los Angeles. This CGI-generated teen robot is the invention of a startup called Brud, which positions herself as a Gen Z tastemaker. She's already landed partnerships with companies like Samsung, Prada, Calvin Klein, and YouTube. Lil Miquela launched on Instagram in 2016 without any explanation and very quickly grew to 2.2 million followers, which is 2.2 million more than I have. And now an additional 550,000 on TikTok. The idea is that CA will work with her to get more of those sponsorship opportunities, TV, film, commercial endorsements, those sort of things. So question to you all, how do you see virtual influencers changing entertainment? Will this affect how real artists operate in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think, obviously there's a little bit of a novelty effect, but I think there's some places that, virtual influencers definitely have a role. I think like modeling, for example, where obviously there's the celebrity angle and I'll come back to that, but if you look at catalogs or maybe advertisements where it's less about the person and more about, having a body or like a generic face, could definitely see that happening in certain areas. I actually, before working at Streamlined, worked at a startup called Skillshare, which basically is an online learning platform where a lot of kind of like micro influencers in design and photography teach classes. I definitely think there's something about this like rise of influencer on social media where, it's about, there's an aspect of aspiration that you can attain to and realism. And so I think you see that with like mommy blogs, right? Where it's like, you might follow this blogger who, maybe has it a little bit more together than you, but also has, the same problems as you and the same aspect. And that's kind of why you follow them. And I think, that there's, in terms of like, how will this affect, other influencers or other artists? Like, I do think there's an aspect of realness that is attractive to why we like celebrities. I know if you remember, like People magazine used to have celebrities, they're just like us, they spill their coffee, and so I do think there is that psychology of being a real person, of them making mistakes, of them being something that you could also be that is going to be attractive, that maybe virtual influencers won't be able to attain, but maybe they will, and maybe there's just different, or maybe there's just different places for both. Yeah.
I mean, I'm for anything that takes away jobs from influencers, so I think this is pretty cool. I'm sure they'll be fine going back to their rich parents, but I don't know, I find it very fascinating. Like, they already, with Instagram, how they collect all this data and they know exactly what targeted ads, that you could just have all this data and create the most influential person for individuals. And I feel like, I would be really intrigued to see what influencer they came up for me to get me to buy a lifestyle or products. Like, I don't know. It'd be really interesting. I think I'm into it. It sounds a really neat idea. And they nailed it on this girl for Gen Z and what you like in an influencer. I feel like she has everything.
Yeah, she has a gold bust of herself that
I know
as a necklace. Like,
I want that.
Of myself. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like in reality, this has been happening, for a very long time. You have all these virtual, especially for children, right? All these virtual stars, right? Everything from, my kid watched Paw Patrol. Back in the day, we had like the Chipmunks. You have Barney. So it's not unfathomable that we're going to keep doing that even gorillas for adults, like you can go see the gorillas in concert. And so I don't see why this won't catch on, and I think it might eat into a share of like Nicky brought up a great point of like we love influencers because, you know, there's people we try to aspire to be like in some way or look up to, or, you know, just want to laugh at. But, you know, there's that real factor. But then there's also these folks that are kind of fake and, you know, they're just there to kind of whatever model something or whatever it is. And there's not really that connection. And yeah, I don't see why in that case they're going to really have a competitive edge over something that's like, you know, basically completely fine tuned to be that for a specific audience. So yeah, I think it makes sense, and I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Speaking of specific audiences, we kind of joked how she's very much set up for Gen Z. I mean, she just got signed by CAA and has like a ton of these large partnerships. It seems like there is a world where we see more of these type of virtual influencers. Do you all see the types of virtual influencers also then expanding to different audiences? Like, will there be one for like a millennial like me who's now living in Florida? Or is it going to be limited to like a Gen Z audience?
I feel like Nicky brought up a good point of like, I'm sure there'll probably be like a fake mommy blogger where she's kind of a mess, but then she also has really great things to promote that helps her life get organized, and that she's just like everybody else. Like even with this girl, I find her, you know, she seems slightly approachable, I think. It's like amazing that they know how to do that balance. I think it's so fascinating.
You would want to hang out with her in Astoria?
Well, I don't think she'd want to hang out with me. I think I would be more like what mommy bloggers are. Like that would be even though I don't have kids, I just feel like when I see TikTok, that's who's all on my For You page. So I probably wouldn't have her as my virtual influencer.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, please go ahead.
there's something of a novelty effect, but you know, it's like, is Miquela getting signed because she's the first one to have this kind of presence? But maybe I bet people said that in 2005 about mommy bloggers too. So I don't know. It's weird to think about the future of like synthetic people and voice and all of these things today. So we'll see how it plays out.
Cool. Jordan, do you have something you wanted to add? We're going to move on to a cartoon if not.
It was nothing actually useful to share, so I'll skip.
All right, cartoonist, what do you got for us?
I do have some stuff. See my screen. Cool. Oh, I think you'll see some of my true feelings about all this coming through.
That's so good.
Oh, it's too good.
And lastly,
She takes selfies.
yeah, I just think it's kind of wild that like you give someone the task of making someone that is unreal and can do all these things that humans can't do, and what do you make her do? Just like dumb things that humans do.
Oof.
Well said.